Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming for this first briefing regarding the I-10 repair project. Just want to give you the rundown of the speakers, so you have that for your list. We have the California Secretary of Transportation, Toks Omishakin, T-O-K-S, O-M-I-S-H-A-K-I-N, followed by Shailen Bhatt, S-H-A-I-L-E-N B-H-A-T-T. He is the Federal Highway Administration Administrator. Then we have the Deputy Mayor for Infrastructure, Randall Winston. I hope I'm spelling this right, Randall, R-A-N-D-A-L-L W-I-N-S-T-O-N, followed by the California Highway Patrol Captain Jared Perry, J-A-R-E-D P-E-R-R-Y. And wrapping that up is Tony Tavares, T-O-N-Y-T-A-V-A-R-E-S, Caltrans Director. That, I'm going to turn it over to Toks. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Again, thanks for taking time to get an update on the I-10 closure, the I-10 fire, and our ongoing work to get it back open. Again, I'm Toks Omishakin, the California Transportation Secretary. I'll start off with saying that this remains priority number one for us in state government. Governor Newsom is fully focused on this issue, and as I've mentioned several times, and he's mentioned when he mentioned when he was here yesterday, declared a state of emergency, and that means all hands on deck for all of us in state government as we're working to get the roadway back open. I'm excited, as you heard in the intros, that an old friend of mine, Shailen Bhatt, the Federal Highway Administrator, is here, and that's in part because of that state of emergency declaration. You will hear from him as well when I wrap up my comments. But to start off with, just some early news to report on the investigation. CAL FIRE completed their investigation actually 12 hours ahead of schedule at 6 p.m. Last night. And they were able to turn over the site fully to the hazmat team and to the Caltrans team to continue to do their work. So the plan originally was for them to be done at 6 a.m. This morning, but again, they got done early, and Caltrans was able to get full access to the site. This is an ongoing investigation. Even though the investigation is complete, it's still ongoing. So it's too early to say exactly how the fire started. So until we get all that information from CAL FIRE and the State Fire Marshal, once we get all that information and we feel like it's been fully assessed, we will report to all of you. We will share that information with all of you and to the general public as well, but not as of yet. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us for these briefings. We will do these at 10 o'clock and at 4 o'clock every day moving forward. Caltrans is working 24/7, literally, to determine the engineering impact to this vital structure in Los Angeles that carries nearly 300,000 people every single day. We want to make sure that you have the latest on the progress of inspections, analysis, and our approach to getting the roadway back open. We already have 2 contractors on board, one for hazmat cleanup and one for the shoring of the bridge. Last night, one of the contractors was able to install shoring around the most damaged bend of the bridge. This provided for worker safety as well as the opportunity to take samples from the bridge. We will find out more information today from those bridge samples that were taken to understand the extent of the impact, again, from the fire to the bridge. We've been able to take the concrete and rebar samples from on the underside of the bridge and columns. Once we analyze these samples, we will get a clearer idea of our repair strategy. Please know that we're determining the best course of action for getting this bridge back open as quickly and as safely as possible. We have several speakers again here today to give you updates from their field of expertise, including some of our structures and engineering people who may be able to answer some very preliminary questions. But as I mentioned, very glad that a colleague of mine who I've known for many years, the administrator of the Federal Highway Administration, is here as well to provide some updates from the federal government. This is going to be key for us because there are process waivers that we will need, potential environmental waivers, funding support, all those things the federal government will be able to potentially provide to us. So again, I'm glad Secretary Buttigieg and the White House have sent Shaylin Bott down. Shaylin?
Thanks, Mr. Stokes.
Yep.
So, as Secretary Omashakin said, Shaylin Bott, Federal Highway Administrator, and what I am keenly aware of, having also been a Secretary of Transportation in Delaware and Colorado, is the impact, and actually having been in Philadelphia here recently for the I-95 closure, is the massive impact both on local, regional, and even national stakeholders here. Driving it was very clear that there's a real traffic impact in the L.A. metro area, but there's a lot of goods that come in through the ports of L.A. and Long Beach. They're going to be impacted, and so we did notify the White House yesterday of this closure. The President has been briefed. Secretary Buttigieg has been in contact with Governor Newsom and with Mayor Bass, and he is very dialed in. We did receive I think the initial funding request for ER funding. As the federal partner here, we are here to say that we will provide whatever funding is needed to get this bridge and this section of Interstate open as quickly and safely as possible. We will be, we're here on the first day, and we'll be here for as long as it takes. Just want you to know that we have received all of the necessary paperwork. We will process that as quickly as possible and make sure that the funding is flowing. With that, I'll turn it over to the Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Administrator, and good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Randall Winston. I'm the Deputy Mayor of Infrastructure for Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Since Saturday, the Mayor has been working urgently with state and federal partners to inform Angelenos and respond to this emergency, again, as you have all heard. Angelenos can visit emergency.lacity.gov for more information. We'll continue to get out the message both throughout the day and moving forward. What you're seeing here today is a great example of this uniform response. Again, on behalf of the Mayor, I want to thank our Federal Highway Administrator, Shaylin Bott, for traveling here to assess the damage of the impacted area, and of course, Secretary Buttigieg for his continued support. The Mayor also wants to thank our California State Transportation Agency Secretary and my good friend, Tokes Omashakin, for the ongoing and strong partnership with our office, and for joining us this morning before the sun came up, actually, to provide you all with an update and Angelenos about the traffic impacts for the morning commute. During this morning's press conference, the Los Angeles Department of Transportation General Manager Laura Rubio Cornejo also detailed alternative traffic routes for drivers traveling near the impacted area and encouraged Angelenos to consider alternative routes, transit, and other modes of transportation. Yesterday evening, the Los Angeles Emergency Management Department issued a citywide wireless emergency alert, again directing Angelenos to emergency.lacity.gov. Information is also being posted on Nextdoor, on our social media channels, everywhere that we can get the word out to make sure that folks are informed as widely as possible. The Mayor wants to make sure that everyone understands that we are acting urgently, and we will not stop until the freeway is up and running again. During the 1994 Northridge earthquake, Caltrans worked around the clock to complete emergency repairs to the freeways, and this structural damage calls for that same level of urgency. So again, we want to thank our federal and state partners for meeting this emergency in that same spirit. And with that, I'd like to introduce from the California Highway Patrol, Captain Jared Perry. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Jared Perry with the California Highway Patrol, Central Los Angeles area. I want to thank you all for coming today, and also thank our partners. Without all of our support, we could not do this. Just want to update you on the hard closures that we have in place. The Interstate 10 between the East L.A. interchange and Alameda Street is closed. Our next closure is the northbound Interstate 5 transition to the westbound Interstate 10. The next closure is the southbound I-5 transition to the westbound I-10. And then all eastbound traffic on the Interstate 10 is diverted off at Alameda Street. And we're partnering with the City of Los Angeles Department of Transportation in funneling those detours around surface streets and back onto the freeway. I just ask all of you traveling through this area during this time, just please exercise patience. Please stay off your phones, trying to avoid taking pictures. And also, please stay away from the site and trying to access it. I have CHP officers that have increased patrols, and they're also securing the closures with officers. So again, please stay away from the area. Let the workers do their job. Let the trucks get in and out so this can get resolved quicker. Thank you very much for your time. And with that, I'd like to introduce with Caltrans, Mr. Tony Tavares.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tony Tavares. I'm the director for the Department of Transportation, Caltrans, and just want to reiterate a few points that Secretary Omashakian mentioned a bit earlier. Our Caltrans teams are working around the clock to ensure that we inspect this facility, the bridges, that we are taking core samples, that the facility is safe before we reopen it, and to also understand what type of work will be necessary to either reconstruct or rebuild those bridges. Also want to reiterate the point that CAL FIRE completed their fire investigation yesterday at 6 p.m. on Sunday, and they were able to hand over full control to Caltrans to allow us to go in and work with our engineering team, our structural engineers and inspectors to start coring the concrete of the bridge, the superstructure, the deck, and the columns themselves. So we don't have results from any of the core samples at this moment, but we will have them shortly. Initial emergency project funding has been secured, and we have 2 contractors on site performing the hazardous materials waste removal, and we have a prime contractor also ready to get to work with the structural work that needs to be done. We've also secured the perimeter of the bridge site. We've taken over control from Los Angeles Police Department, and we thank our partners at the City of Los Angeles Police Department, and Mayor Karen Bass. So we recognize, Caltrans recognizes the impact and the loss of this section of freeway on Angelenos. And as a former Angeleno myself, I want to tell you how much I understand the importance of this freeway. My teams will be working around the clock to get this reopened as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. I have provided the necessary resources, and if we need additional resources, I will provide those resources here. The urgency is now. We will get this taken care of. So I want to thank you all for being here this morning and look forward to our briefing at 4 p.m. Thank you.
Standing in the back. With that, we'll take some questions. We have these people. We also have some other experts in the room who can answer your questions.
The worst case scenario, if you have to rebuild the 2 bridges, you mentioned in Google, how long would it take? Worst case scenario.
We're looking at the current inspection report, and there will be a lot of options available to us. As you can see, we got federal level support, and we have the national experiences, and we're going to consult with a lot of experts, so that decision won't be made, but we cannot give you any speculation as how long that it's going to take. Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
John is my first name. Yang is last name. I'm the Deputy District Director for this district for construction. Thank you.
What are the range of things that would be required to fix
We're looking at damages. I'm not going to go too technical. The whole bridge, as you can see, from the foundation all the way up to the bridge deck, we're inspecting. We're taking samples. So if you look at the bridge as a whole, we're inspecting every aspect of it.
The full investigation is still ongoing. The initial investigation has been completed at 6 p.m. We're not going to speculate at this moment. We don't have a cause because that investigation is still ongoing with CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE arson investigators are taking everything into consideration. So it is not uncommon for Caltrans to lease what we call airspace leases under our structures. It is common practice.
Is what burned over the weekend a product of stuff that was being leased or stored there?
From my understanding, from what I've seen from photographs and the field site, it appears there were items underneath the bridge that burned, correct. From the photographs that I have seen and from a field site visit, it appears that items under the bridge burned.
But items that were there leased to another company by the authority of Caltrans?
That location has an existing airspace lease agreement, correct, with Caltrans, correct. So I'm going to turn it over to John.
In yesterday's briefing, LA Fire reported the adjacent structure. They all check. Everything is fine. And at the site, we're inspecting about 10 bends. We call it lines of columns. That's the extent, about 450 feet. That's what we're looking at. And then, like I said, I'm not going to detail every aspect of the bridge. It's pretty much from the deck all the way to the foundation is what we're looking at. We're not going to, like I said, we are waiting for the inspection report as eager as everyone, and we're going to make assessment. And they will be coming in because some of the columns are so damaged, we have to shore them to take samples. So, and like I said, there are 10 rows of columns, and then some of the rows have 9 columns on it. So there are a lot of columns that we have to go through. So to have a complete report is not going to be today or tomorrow, but we got initial report that can assist us to make some decision. But at this time, we're not going to speculate how is the repair strategy going to be.
Did you say 9 columns?
Yeah, some of the line of columns across the freeway. Line of column is like I would say perpendicular to the travel direction. There are 9 of them. There are 5 lanes each direction, so they're more than 130 feet wide. This is a wide bridge, very wide bridge, to provide 5 lanes each direction of traffic.
So their line is 9 columns.
Yeah, yeah.
Senators?
Yeah, there are about 10 of those, and then we're actually may even expand over to the adjacent one that doesn't even look burnt. That's a, yeah, we could go over 100 just to be safe. So.
What is your biggest concern structurally?
Well, we have workers working there, and that's our primary safety. Yeah.
In terms of the structure, what is your biggest concern in terms of the integrity of the structure?
It could be every aspect of it. So you said the most, well, we're looking at shoring it. That's the thing. Right now, we do not believe it will collapse. We got workers underneath, and we're shoring the portion that you feel that it's going to collapse. It's going to be shored. So that's the number 1 priority we're doing is for worker safety. So as you can tell, we're doing worker safety, shoring, and everything.
Spaces where it could be no freeway. Can you explain to us how that works? Because there's a lot of them that say that they have like tow trucks down there that
I think we have leases going on back since the 70s, and then we're not gonna go into the detail of that. Actually, there will be legal proceeding with that, so we're not gonna go into
I
detail.
think you're talking generally.
Yeah.
First, there's a page on our webpage that talks about airspace leases, so you can get all the basic information about that. But there are multiple uses for airspace leases, and we're not going to go into those details right now.
I'm sorry, clarify your question one more time. Yeah, again, we don't want to share that type of information yet. At some point, all of this will become public. We will share details on who the lessee was and potential subleases as well. But at this point, we don't want to get into that because of this ongoing investigation. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And we can get details. We can probably get you details on exactly what's allowable and what's not allowable on their bridge. But I'll tell you that the district team, the District 7 team, was doing investigations on this bridge, and they were reporting back up to headquarters on all the issues related to challenges going on with this lessee. So we've been looking at this for several months. Possibly. Just don't want to speculate exactly on whether or not the pallets or people experiencing homelessness possibly led to any of this. Don't want to speculate, but that's very possible. That's something we'll look at. One more question, then we got to move on. One more. This particular location? The governor mentioned this yesterday, just roughly 14, 15 months ago. The governor and I were exactly adjacent to this location and clearing an encampment. We spent more than a couple of hours here, but it was adjacent to this bridge, not directly under the bridge where this fire likely started. So yeah, absolutely.
You put on some really good visuals behind you. Is anyone can explain any of that to us?
Sure. John, do you mind explaining impacts to the bridge fire?
All right. The first picture, basically, that's the column supporting the soffit, and you can see the rebar exposed and then the concrete chunk dangling from the edges. And these are the type of thing we're going to take the samples on both the columns and also the support, the beam, and also the soffit underneath. Similar here, as you can see, the burn wreckage right next to it. There's some peeling of the concrete along the edge beam and also the columns. They're peeling off. Some of the rebar, as you can see, is exposed, and those we are going to take sample to see the concrete and also the rebar strengths. This is a wider look. I'm not going to sing. This is a wider look, and then this is a nearby ramp. And then, as you can see, there are burned vehicle that we still need to remove, and the column are peeling, as you can see, and also the soffit is bubbling. And then we got some soffit openings over there that we're gonna have man lift going in there and take a look at inside of the bridge cell, because they were also burning inside the bridge cells. The soffit is basically the bottom slab of a concrete box. This is a reinforced concrete box. So the bottom part is the soffit, and these are, we call it soffit openings. And when we build a bridge, we got some wood support for the bridge deck, and we are not required to remove them. And with this extreme heat, it also caught fire. So we're gonna have men lift with our inspectors going underneath, and then we're gonna go in there with the proper attire and take samples inside of the bridge cells and then where the lost decks are. This is another look of the concrete peeling with rebar exposing, and probably what you see is the storage of the vehicles. Same thing. Concrete peeling on what I call the bottom of the reinforced concrete box. Some peeling, and as you can see, you already see many columns. They're all in various degree of damage, and we're going to inspect every one of them if the strategy remains to be shoring this bridge. So. We have no concern for worker safety working underneath. That's why we're clearing all the debris. We already have all the environmental testing done. So right now, that's what we're doing. So I cannot tell you that. We got all the standard federal highway truckloads requirements. There's a small portion of the top deck that we inspected. We're taking sample, and we're also taking a lot of sample all around the driving surface. We're not going to speculate.
One more, we got to run. One more.
The columns are about 3 foot in diameter. There are many of them, and then on the both side of the street, the clearance is 15 foot 9 inches. 15, 16 feet, as you can imagine. It goes down to the bottom, and I'm not going to tell you how deep it is, but exposed all the way, vertical clearance on the roadway surface is 15 foot 9 inches on the city streets. It's 450 feet we're looking at, more than 130 feet wide for 5 lanes each direction. That's the whole extent, and like I said, we might go over a little bit.
Captain, can you talk about the morning commute and how it went better than expected, as expected?
Yes, as you can imagine, we've been monitoring that, especially through our Los Angeles Regional Traffic Management Center, and it was definitely more congested than it usually is for a Monday morning. Usually Monday mornings we experience a little bit lighter morning commute than the other weekdays. However, with this full freeway closure, we definitely noticed that our surrounding freeways, the 101, the 110, the 5, those definitely had a lot more traffic that impacted our morning commute.
Last one here.
So you hit the nail on the head there in the messaging. We are encouraging everyone, Angelenos, both in the city of Los Angeles and obviously in surrounding areas, to take transit, take advantage of Metrolink, various modes that are alternative routes, and we know are better for our city and region long term. That being said, we are assessing traffic patterns dynamically on a regular basis, and any incentives or increases to transit service those decisions will be made in the forthcoming manner. So stay tuned. All options are on the table. Thank you.
We're going to call right now. We're going to do these briefings twice daily. So expect you'll get another notification around 4 a.m. And we can 3 p.m.
Is it back here at 4 p.m.? Back here?